Hi friends, welcome back to Calm in the Chaos Homeschool. So today I'm going to go over my morning basket for term 3, the end of the school year, what we had in the morning basket, what we thought about it. And while I'm here, I thought I would let you know what I plan on starting our next homeschool year with in our morning basket. And so if you're interested in seeing what we did and how we felt about what we did, and then what we plan on doing in the upcoming school year, stick around. If you're new here, my name is Davine, and I am homeschooling 4 kids who are going to be in 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade in the upcoming school year. My kids are doing a mix of things in the upcoming school year and in this past year as well. My 9th grader, who's going into 10th grade, she is continuing to attend a hybrid school. She attended that school 2 days a week last year. And so we had 3 days a week of morning basket in this past school year. Now, in the upcoming school year, her teacher is planning on doing a fun enrichment Friday. So she will be going to her school 3 days a week instead of the 2 days a week, which means morning basket will only be a maximum of 2 days a week in the upcoming school year. So we are going to be doing quite a bit less of the morning basket. It has been a slow adjustment from going down from 4 to 5 days a week to 2 to 3 days a week. And now in the upcoming school year, morning basket will probably be 1 to 2 days a week. And so that's going to be a hard adjustment for me, but it's just sort of what is happening. That is what's going on in the upcoming school year. So here's my morning cart. I'm going to go through each item sort of in the order that they are in. No particular order here, except for a few of the things that we always start with. So the first thing that we always start with during our morning basket time is World Watch News. My kids really like that. It's a really great way to get them together. We don't start the day with our morning basket. We usually start our morning basket about an hour into our school day. I feel like it just breaks up our day a bit. So the kids can do some independent work. I can work with some kids on math, and we just sort of work for about an hour, and then I call everyone together and we start with World Watch News. Now, I don't have a special code right now, but you can get 7 days free if you use my normal referral code. So I will put that below. It's a 10-minute news program from a Christian perspective. I love knowing what's happening in the world. It's a mix of current events, serious, and then fun topics as well. All of my kids really enjoy it, and when we miss it, they do ask, can we watch World Watch News? When can we watch World Watch News? And so that's been a big hit in our family. This has been our 2nd year with World Watch News, and we look forward to a 3rd year with World Watch News. So that is something that I do 5 days a week. If I don't do it with all of my kids, I am still doing it with my boys, my middle school boys, who I am working with as a smaller group on the other days that we are not together as a big group. Okay, so next we always go into Bible. And so what we finished off since last term was Not Consume's New Testament study. We finished that. We went through the Old Testament study at the beginning of the year. We did the New Testament study. Then what we moved into at the end was Sunlight's reading. And so we are just doing Sunlight F's reading. That was our Sunlight from last year. We're just continuing on because we often have Not Consumed, so we haven't gone through it. So I just have a list of the readings and we're just going through. So we've done Obadiah, Nahum, Habakkuk, and Zephaniah here at the end of the year. And really, we're just reading the Bible. Sometimes I will use the Jesus Project at the beginning of the book just to get an overview of the book. And then we just read through, take turns reading through a chapter a day. Now, I've been going through several resources. And so because I've been rotating through resources, and we're only doing morning basket 3 times a week, we haven't finished these resources. So we are almost halfway through the Radical Book for Kids. And so that has been good. We have enjoyed it. It's sort of, the topics kind of skip around quite a bit. There is a lot of variety in topics, and we do like it. but I have decided that I'm going to put this aside for the upcoming school year because there's some other things that I want to do. And like I said, if we only do morning basket 1 to 2 times a week, I really need to be a little more specific on what we are doing. So another resource that we have been going through is this. It couldn't just happen. And we are about halfway through this as well. Now, I really enjoyed this. We have been doing a lot of talking about evolution and things like that this year, science, and how we can see God through science. And so this has been a perfect book to be going through this year. I do want to continue on with this book. So we're just going to continue on with this in our rotation somehow in the upcoming school year. Before I get too far into this, I do want to say I will put links to everything I mentioned here in the description box below in case you're interested in looking at anything further. Okay, and so we also finished up The Kingdom Strikes Back. This is interesting. It goes through how the word of Jesus spread throughout the earth after Jesus's death. And so that was really interesting to go along with the history that we were learning this year, ancient and medieval history. And really it starts at more medieval times, but that was really interesting to read through. It's a very, very, very tiny book, so it didn't take long at all, but that is something that we have been reading, and we finished that one, and that is a Sunlight G suggestion. Another Sunlight G suggestion is Mary Jones and Her Bible, a sweet little book about a girl who just wants to get her hands on a Bible. She is in Wales, I don't know, in 1800s, I think, and it was really hard to get a Bible. So she saved her money for like 7 years, and then she tried to go buy a Bible, and Bibles were scarce, so it was even hard for her to buy a Bible after she had saved up her money. But we finished that book, and that was also part of Sunlight G suggestion that we went through. As a group, we have been listening to John Williams. He was a missionary to Pacific Island area, and so that was a Heroes Then and Now book. So that was a book that we've been listening to recently. And I'm currently not remembering the read aloud that we did before that. So I will put a link here to the book that we read before that. Sorry, I can't tell you what I thought of it because I can't even remember what we did. So those are sort of the 2 read alouds we did during this last term. Okay, so this is something that I want to do in the upcoming school year. This is not something that we have done. I believe it is a Sunlight H suggestion for Bible, and I do like to follow along with Sunlight suggestions. I do like their suggestions. It could be G or H, I'm not sure. But we haven't done it yet, and I remember reading this book and it being quite impactful as an early adult. And if they suggest it for middle school age, then I'm going to pick it up. So this is The Purpose-Driven Life. What on earth am I here for? And this is just 4 pretty short chapters about just that. And so I'm looking forward to doing this with my kids next year. So at this point, my plans are to do this and this. So what I'm thinking is with only 1 to 2 times a week, I'll probably start the year with this, get through that, and then continue with this. Either that or stick this in my loop that's coming up next. So that's also a possibility, to be reading this every day and then just have this as part of my loop. So what I just covered now was sort of our Bible time that we do every day. Another thing that we were doing very first thing after Bible time this last term has been vocabulary cartoons. I'll put a link there. I had to return it to my parent partnership program. We are going to continue with that. I also picked up the next one, so it's like SAT words that come up after that. So we'll continue with that. I'm not sure how far we'll get in it. Like I said, 1 to 2 times a week, but that was fun, and kids are learning some vocabulary words. They love it when the words pop up in everyday life, and they'll be like, oh, we learned that word. So we will continue with that every day after Bible time. So the next things that I'm going to show you are in my loop. Now, what that means is I will do about 2 of these each time we do a morning basket. I'm not doing anywhere close to all of these. And I do try to sort of rotate between shorter activities and then maybe something that we read that's a little bit longer. And if it's something that we have to stop in the middle of a chapter, I'll start the next day with that book again. or maybe even a third day with that book again before I put it at the back of the rotation. I hope that makes sense. So one of the things that we have been doing is this financial literacy for grades 6 to 8. We are exactly halfway through that. And so that is just something fun that we've been doing throughout the year. We usually do 2 or 3 pages. It just has simple activities, easy for middle schoolers to understand. It covers topics like buying and selling at the store, earning money at a job, making and following a budget, using banks. That's how far we got. We have paying to have a car, making and taking out loans, using money in different countries, buying and using insurance, saving for retirement, making money in investments. So we'll just continue with this throughout the year. We probably won't get super far, but we can get some more of that done. Here is one that we started at the end of last year. And so we've been doing this for a year now, and we are just slightly over halfway through. But my kids do really enjoy this. It is 13 Things Strong Kids Do. Think big, feel good, and act brave. And it's just a mindset book. And that is something that we will read like part of the chapter, and then I'll put it back and we'll read the next part of the chapter, and then the next day, and then I'll put it back and then we'll read the next part of the chapter. And so it takes us a few days to get through that. So that sometimes pops up a few times in our rotation before it gets put to the back. All right, so we have History Smashers, Women's Right to Vote. I think we started this after we probably started this in term 2. So it's been taking us a while, and we are not yet done, but we're getting pretty close. So I'll probably finish this book up, and then as the next government book that I want to have in our rotation, I decided that we're going to do We the People. So this is a beautiful book that talks about the Constitution, the 3 branches of government, the articles, and the amendments. And so I thought we'd just go through this sort of as, I don't know, a little bit about government and just keep learning about government. We did start a unit this year, and so we'll just continue to add a little bit more in the upcoming school year. Okay, so we are about halfway through this. And my kids have really enjoyed this, the thinking toolbox. They're always happy when it's time to do this. It has a lot of fun examples of just ways to think, just to use reasoning skills. And I think it has some really great points in here. So, and then it has some good examples. So I've really enjoyed this. If I were comparing this to the Tuttle Twins Logical Fallacies, I would choose this. I have enjoyed this a lot. And I don't think we'll probably get to this next one, but it is here if we need it. We will do the Fallacy Detective after we finish this. If we finish this, considering we're only halfway through this, we probably won't get to that, but these 2 books are sort of companion books, and I do have it ready for whenever we finish this one. So we will continue to work on that probably through the whole year, but if we finish it, we can start the Fallacy Detective. Okay, so the next one, I don't have anymore. I had to return it. It was Favorite Poems, Old and New. It's a very, very thick poetry book. We hardly made a dent in it at all. I think in the upcoming school year, I might just go ahead and skip to the next poetry book. I believe it's classic poetry, something like that. I'll put a link here just to show you what it is. It is from Book Shark H. That is a much shorter book. So what I might do is finish that one up. And then if I finish that one, we can go back to Favorite Poems, Old and New. But we might not, just because of the amount of time we have for morning basket. Oh, sorry, that was loud. But after I had to return the Favorite Poems, Old and New, I pulled this out. I've had this on my shelf. We have read a little tiny bits of it. And so I took it out, and we're just not very far in it at all. But this is a book that lots of homeschoolers have. It's kind of fun. I actually like it. Every day it's a little bit different. It's like an anthology. So it has a bunch of different little stories and poetry, and they go through different virtues. So these are the virtues here. It says self-discipline, compassion, responsibility, friendship, work, courage, perseverance, honesty, loyalty, and faith. And it's just fun. It has like little stories that you might never heard before. It has Aesop Fables, which we might have heard before. It has poetry. It has Greek myths. It has Norwegian myths. It has just a bunch of different things. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of a fun variety to have. And so I've been enjoying that towards, like, we just did it the last 2 weeks or so. So that might just be continued to be my backup when our poetry has to be returned and we need something for poetry. We'll just do this instead. So the Book of Virtues. Yeah, that's been kind of fun. I've kind of enjoyed that the last few weeks that we've been doing it. Okay, so another category that I can't exactly show you is I usually do like a fables, myths, fairy tales sort of category based on where we are in geography and or history. And so this last term we have mostly been working on Greek myths. We've been using Mary Pope Osborne's Greek myths, and so we've read most of that. Yeah, so that just had a bunch of Greek myths, some that we have heard of, some that we haven't. So that is what we've been finishing the year on. And then next year, I think I will either find I think because we'll be covering Europe, I might do some Norwegian myths again. I might see if our parent partnership program has some of those. I'll probably look for some from South America because that is the other area that we'll be studying next year. So I'll probably be pulling some things in from the library or from our parent partnership program. But when we are not doing those, I'm going to go back to Shakespeare. So we didn't do Shakespeare at all this year. We usually try to add that in the last term. I try to do something from Shakespeare. Often we're reading a play together and we just didn't have time. So I think I'm just going to read some of the Shakespeare stories. So I need your help here. I have the Usborne Complete Shakespeare here, and we have read a few of them. We've read A Midsummer Night's Dream. We've read Twelfth Night. And then they have a million other stories that we have not read. So I have that. And this has like pictures. I really do like it has like the character pages that tell you about the characters before you start. So that is an option to read this version. And I was just thinking of going through and just reading the Shakespeare just so that my kids are familiar with it. We've done the real plays, but we don't have time for that. So just going through and helping them to be more familiar. Or I picked this up for $2 at the library. Do I do Charles and Mary Lamb's Tales from Shakespeare? So I don't know if they have the same stories. So they have a bunch of, those are the stories they have here. If you have read either of these, let me know. What do you think? Should I use this one or this one? How do I decide? So that is what I was planning on using when we don't have more specific geography as far as like tales or myths or something from geography. So that is what was in my morning basket this past term and sort of how things went. That's what I'm planning on having in my morning basket next year. As you can see, we will be going through it very slowly, but I don't know, it's fun. It adds variety. It's fun to kind of go through a rotation and every day is a little bit different. So that's sort of what I do like about the morning basket. So yeah, so let me know, do you have a morning basket and what sort of things do you have in your morning basket? How did you like your morning basket this past year if you have one? So that is everything. Thanks for coming today. If you like videos like this, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I think I have another unboxing coming up. And in the month of July, I will probably start doing more specifically, this is each of my kids' curriculum, and then schedule out my kids' curriculum with me, sort of videos, planning our schedule, planning our loops, things like that. So if you like videos like that, do stick around. Thanks for coming today, and I hope to see you all in a future video. Bye, everyone.